If you're watching this video and you're thinking that I'm going to tell you that dropshipping is easy, then I'm going to tell you that you can just push a couple buttons on your computer and you're going to wake up rich, this video is not for you. Just close the tab now. I'm not your guy. But if you actually want to build a real brand, one that does $10,000 a month, $20, $50, $100,000 a month, and eventually can pay for your dream life, I'm going to hand you every single thing that I've learned over the past 2 years of being in this game. I've done over $5 million in sales, over $600,000 in sales in the last 30 days alone. And in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to compress everything. Every mistake, every unlock, every stupid thing that I did into 10 simple tips that you can follow will get you going and get you scaling. And the catch, you have to watch the whole thing because tip number 7 is literally the one that 10x my business. And if you skip to it without listening to the first 6, it's not going to make any sense. Now, here's the thing that no one tells you about dropshipping. It's not a business, at least not the way that most people run it. Most people treat it like a slot machine. They find a product on TikTok, they slap it up on Shopify, they run some ads, and they pray. And then when it doesn't work, shocker, it barely ever does, they blame the product, they blame Zuck, they blame the algorithm or whatever they want to blame, and then they move on. Real dropshipping is brand building, the type of business that pays for your car, pays for your mortgage, and funds whatever dream life you have. Do you want to go travel? It can fund that. But you're building a well-oiled machine, not some slot machine. And this machine that you're building, it has parts. If you're missing one part, the whole machine breaks. So I'm going to break this down today in 3 sections. There's going to be 5 tips for beginners. If you've never made $1 with dropshipping, or this is your first month, you're just starting, maybe you're stuck under 10K a month, these 5 tips are going to be very relevant to where you're at. So definitely don't skip. Second, I'm going to mix in 2 tips for intermediate. If you're anywhere between $10,000 and $50,000 a month and you can't figure out how to scale, this middle section is going to help you push through that ceiling. Then lastly, 3 advanced tips. These are going to be the ones that took me from decent to elite, from I have a store to I have a store making $600,000 per month. And to be honest, most people don't know these, will never learn these, because most people never make it far enough to even need them. All right, tip number 1. This is going to determine whether you make any sales at all. And the tip is you need to find a new mechanism. Now, what do I mean by a new mechanism? A new mechanism just means an old product, but finding a new way to market it. How it's used, how it's taken, how it's applied, how it's delivered. It's not really a new product. It's a new angle on an already winning product. And here's why this matters. It's because new products lose. When you try to introduce something completely new into the market, you have to spend a fortune educating people on what your product actually is and what it does. And most people starting out just simply don't have the money to facilitate that. But if you take a product in a market that's already winning, hair loss, supplements, skincare, and you attach a new mechanism to it, a new reason of why it works. So this could be a new formulation, a new delivery, a gummy versus a capsule. You have now separated yourself from a saturated market because you have a new mechanism. And the best part about it is that the demand is already there. You're just finding a new way to market to the same people who have bought it before. All right, moving straight into tip number 2, make sure you have a large TAM, a total addressable market. This is where I see a lot of beginners bleed out. They pick a niche with a product that has like 40,000 people in it globally. Why do you want to sell a supplement to a left-handed rock climber from Japan when you could just sell a supplement for joint pain in your fingers? Where for joint pain, you can sell to millions of people, but for the left-handed rock climber from Japan, there's not that many people. You simply can't outwork a super small market. So then the market inevitably decides your ceiling before you even do. So ultimately, I would just look at the categories that are already doing billions in sales. Hair care, skincare, weight loss, joint pain. These might not be the sexiest categories, and they're not new, but they are massive. There's a ton of people to sell to. So ultimately, the small niche is a pretty fast way to go broke. So focus on a big total addressable market. All right, real quick before we get into tip number 3, I want to do something for you guys that have been supporting and watching my videos. And as you guys know, every winning product starts with product research. Finding the right thing to sell before you blow a bunch of money on ads. And that's kind of the hardest thing for a lot of people. So here's what I'm going to do. One person watching this video will get a free winning product from me. A full brief of my research that I'm going to do. I will spend a couple hours on it, break down exactly why I think a product is a winner, and then I will send it all to you for completely free. So if you want to be entered to win that free product brief on a winning product, just drop a comment on this video and let me know what your favorite tip was that we talked about, and that's it. You'll be entered. And I'll go ahead and pick someone by the time I release my next video. All right, now let's jump into tip number 3. Tip 3 is MRR. And this is something that has changed my entire business and will change yours too. MRR means monthly recurring revenue. For every product that you sell, the goal is not to sell it one time to one person. The goal is to sell multiple times to the same person on a subscription basis. So here's a quick breakdown of the math. If I pay $30 to acquire a customer, they pay me $50, I make 20 bucks on that one purchase. That's not anything crazy, that's, side hustle money. But if the same customer subscribes for the next 12 months, that's $600 in lifetime value that I just made from that one customer. And now I can outbid all of my competitors because I know that one customer that I spent $30, $50 to get is going to make me $600 throughout the course of the entire year. So you want to start your brand as a subscription-based MRR business. And that MRR is the difference that takes you from just a regular general store to a well-oiled machine with passive income. All right, tip number 4, your website and specifically how to build it with AI. 2 years ago, if you wanted to build a good website, you were paying an agency $2,000, or you were spending 3 months trying to learn how to code, or you were praying that some kid on Upwork would respond to your messages and fix whatever errors were on your website. Today, you can build a fully converting, ready to rock and roll AI website with AI images, AI copy, AI generated basically everything in about 15 minutes. And it'll probably convert 90% better than a lot of the people who try and build themselves because AI just knows what works and you can show it what works and it can replicate what works. I use tools like Higgsfield, Nano Banana Pro to make the images for my website. I use Wix AI Store Builder to make my store, make my layout, make my landing pages. And ultimately, you name it, AI can do it, and AI can do it a hell of a lot faster than you can do it on your own. And the reason why an AI website matters is just speed, frankly. You should be able to launch your product in a week, not a month, not a year, a week. And if you're still handling all the design and coding and freelancers and all this stuff, you're just bleeding time. So really, using AI to build your website, build your landing pages isn't really optional anymore. It's basically mandatory. All right, so tip number 5, and this one sounds pretty simple, but I promise you 90% of beginners get this wrong. You have to monitor your ads every single day. This isn't weekly. This isn't, whenever I feel like it. This is daily. Costs go up, costs go down, ads fatigue, numbers fluctuate, Meta makes mistakes. And if you set your ads specifically when you're a beginner and you disappear for 72 hours, the machine could break and you won't even know. I tend to check my ads first thing in the morning when I wake up, about noon, midday, and then before I go to bed. Now, as your brand grows and scales, you don't have to micromanage as much, but you're in the process of learning your numbers and learning what's going on. And the last thing you want to do is miss a red light when Meta flags your ad account or disables it because of billing or payment or whatever. So ultimately, checking your ad account daily, potentially multiple times per day, isn't so that you can go in there and fidget around and mess things up, but it's so that you can learn what works, learn your numbers, and if there is anything wrong, which can happen when you first start a new ad account, you'll be there to fix it. All right, now if you applied those first 5 tips, you should be pushing around the $10,000 per month mark. And the next few tips are going to be specifically designed to help you push through that 10K per month ceiling. All right, tip number 6 is Disputifier or any, chargeback software. And this is definitely not optional at all. And here's something that no one tells you about scaling your brand is that once you scale past 5K, 10K, 20K a month, you're going to start getting chargebacks. It's literally inevitable. These are customers who bought your product, claim they never received it. Half of them bought your product, they got it, they use it, they might even love it, but they just want it for free. So they're going to call their credit card company, they're going to call their bank account, they're going to say, hey, I didn't get it. They're going to charge back on your brand, they're going to get a refund, and a chargeback is super detrimental for the overall health of your business. And here's the thing, your website host, whether it be Wix, Shopify, wherever you're selling, they don't care. They don't care if the chargeback is legit or if it's not, but they will care about how many you get, and they definitely keep track. If you cross over the 1% chargeback rate on all of your orders, your brand, your merchant account, how you process payments is probably going to get shut down completely. And a lot of times this happens overnight with no warning. You just wake up and your entire business is gone. And I've genuinely seen this happen. I've seen grown men crying because they lost a $2 million per month MRR brand and it's all gone. So what Disputifier does is it blocks those chargebacks before they even hit your brand. There's a small delayed period of when a customer submits a chargeback and it actually hits the back end of your brand. And in that small period of time, Disputifier blocks the dispute, auto refunds the customer, and so yes, you have to refund the customer, but at the end of the day, you're saving your brand, and that's what matters. So at the end of the day, set up Disputifier or a different disputing app ASAP. I would set it up right when you start your store, just so that you have it there, you have the protection, and you have the peace of mind. All right, tip number 7, and remember what I said earlier, this is the tip that 10x'd my brand, and it's actually pretty simple. Hire a customer service VA. I know it sounds boring. I know it doesn't sound sexy at all. It's not AI powered, there's no cool lingo, but listen, before I had a VA, and when you start a brand and you start to scale, you're gonna see the exact same thing. You are going to get a ton of customer support tickets. And it's not even always angry customers. It's gonna be customers saying, hey, how do I use it? What are the ingredients? What's the guarantee? What's the refund policy? Just a ton of questions. And you're gonna be just like me, you're gonna be spending 3 to 4 hours a day answering all of these customer emails instead of doing productive stuff to push your brand further. And the moment I hired a VA, you can get a good one for $4 an hour. It genuinely changed my life and my business. Suddenly I had 3 to 5 more hours per day that I could do on things that actually push the needle and help my brand grow instead of just answering customer support tickets. And that single hire was a pivotal point from me going from $50K a month to $200,000 per month. So that's not a new ad concept. That's not a new Facebook ad setup. It's just a VA. Simple as that. Now, before we jump into the advanced section, the final section, if you're finding value in this content and you want the actual step-by-step of how to build your store with AI, the Facebook ad accounts I use, how to source a VA, how to set up basically everything, I did just put together a 100% free course. It's more of hand-holding, spoon feeding, basically the step-by-step of starting as a beginner to scaling to 1K per day. So if you want to check that out, again, it's totally free. The link will be in the description below. All right, tip number 8, and this separates the amateurs from the actual brand owners. Dropshipping is essentially the training wheels. I'll be honest. It's good. It serves its purpose, but it's the training wheels. If you are serious about scaling and you are doing pretty substantial monthly revenue, you have to go buy inventory. You cannot keep sourcing single units from China that are costing you an arm and a leg and have a 21-day shipping time. When I got to the point where my product was validated, I was making a bunch of money dropshipping, I decided, okay, now is the time to start buying inventory. My cost of goods, which is the major cost for you as the brand owner, my cost per item that I was selling dropped about 60%. That's 60%, not 6%, not 10, not 20, 60%. And ultimately that took my margins from probably around like 10, 15% to like 30+%. And in the grand scheme of things, as the brand owner, that's the difference from breaking even and having money to buy a Lamborghini. The only catch with buying inventory is obviously you need cash. So this isn't something you start with drop shipping and you level up to buying inventory once you've seen some good success with dropshipping. All right, tip number 9 is simplify your Facebook ads. Every guru on YouTube has their own strategy. Oh, run an ABO with 7 ad sets and cost caps and bid caps and interests and retargeting. You need to throw all of that out immediately and do one simple thing. One ABO campaign for testing new ads, one CBO campaign for scaling your winners. It's that simple. I run my entire brand that again did $600,000 in the last 30 days on those 2 campaigns, rotating, testing new creatives in my ABO and then graduating the winners into my CBO to scale. And that's it. No lookalikes, no retargeting, no 15 campaigns. Just keep it simple. All of the hours that you're spending fiddling around and turning little buttons on and off and trying to figure out the perfect campaign structure could be spent being the creative strategist, finding new angles, researching and developing your product, working on new offers, doing actual needle pushing activities that can help scale your brand. So I would just say simplify your structure, over invest in your actual creatives, and just let the machine run, brother. All right, tip number 10, the final tip, and this genuinely might be the most crucial one, and it's know your numbers. If I woke you up at 3 a.m. tonight, I said, hey, can you tell me your CAC? Can you tell me your LTV? Can you tell me your AOV? Can you tell me what ROAS you need in order to continue to scale? And if you look at me with a blank stare and you can't answer those numbers in your sleep, you do not have a business. You have a ticking time bomb. The honest reason that most dropshippers or legitimate brand owners fail is just because they don't know their number. Everything will look fine and dandy and you'll be scaling super aggressively, and then you'll see, oh, I didn't know my margins. I thought my margins were 15%. Turns out they're 2%, and now your business is gone. All it takes is one hidden cost or not understanding one of your numbers and the whole business collapses. I now know my numbers, and because I know my numbers, I can spend more than all of my competitors and still be profitable. And that is the name of the game. That is how you dominate. All right, so there it is. 10 tips, 10 parts of the machine. New mechanism, large TAM, MRR, AI built website, daily ad monitoring, disputifier, customer service VA, buying inventory, simplifying your ads, and knowing your numbers. And I told you guys in the beginning of the video, this isn't a slot machine. I know what works. 2 years ago, I didn't know any of this. I was the guy binge watching YouTube videos, trying to piece together different campaign structures and product research, and I just didn't know what I was doing. But what you just watched is 10,000 plus hours and definitely 10,000 plus dollars, probably $1 million plus in ad spend, all compressed into a simple 20-minute video. So hopefully I can save you guys a boatload of time from all of the failures and learnings that I've had to go through, and you can immediately implement these things when you first launch your brand. Now again, if you want the full step-by-step how to start from square one at $0 a month and scale all the way up to $1,000 a day and everything in between. Again, I'll have the 100% free course that I just created linked in the description below. That should help you guys scale to $1,000 a day as quickly as possible. So that resource is at your disposal in the description. And then don't forget the free giveaway. One person watching this video, I'm gonna just spoon feed you, give you a winning product with a full brief on why it's winning, how it's gonna work, and you can just run with it. So all you have to do again is just drop your favorite tip in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought of the video, and I'll pick a winner by next week. So if you like the video, please subscribe. I'm trying to put out the best banger content that no other brand owner is putting out for you guys. Real numbers, real strategies from real life experience. The machine's not gonna build itself, but you now know the 10 things that I would do to build the machine myself. Go start building. I will see you guys in the next one.